Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am filming from my bedroom, so you might hear Christian's TV in his room. But anyway, I'm here to share my birthing story. As you can see, my little one is here. We're so excited. Anywho, so where do I begin? I don't want this video to be too long. So he's 2 weeks now, and he came May 5th, 2017. So Cinco de Mayo, which is very special because it's also his uncle's birthday, my brother. But anyway, where do I begin? So my last prenatal appointment, doctor's appointment, was May 4th, which was a Thursday. So I went in and I was miserable. I was uncomfortable. I believe I had a sinus infection because I was not feeling well that entire week. I was congested. I had pressure in my ears, so on and so forth. And so when I went in, I told my doctor, I said, can we induce? Because I am miserable, and by that point my due date was only 4 days away, and my doctor and I had been talking the entire time of my pregnancy about how we were not going to go past my due date. And so we were trying for a VBAC, a vaginal birth after cesarean, because I did not want to have another C-section. I had an emergency C-section with Christian, my firstborn. So anyway, she's like, let me check the schedule. So she checked the hospital schedule, and sure enough, they were able to get me in May 5th. So we go to the hospital in the morning we had to check in at 6:30. So we checked in, me and my husband and Christian, and what happened? Sorry, just adjusting my camera. What happened? Drawing a blank here. So we checked in, and it was during shift changes. So I guess no one told our admitting nurse that we were in the room. So we were in there for about 30 minutes or so. And then the nurse came in, as well as my doctor. And so she saw that I was still in my regular clothes. I had not yet changed and hooked up to an IV and all that kind of stuff. So she was like, I'll be back after all that is done. So that was done, and by the time she came back after making her rounds, it was about, I want to say, close to 10 a.m. And so she broke my water, I think they put me on Pitocin. So by me having a cesarean with my firstborn, there were some risk factors that could have taken place that could have resulted in an emergency C-section. So with that being said, she had to go about things a little different than she would have inducing maybe another pregnant person. So normally with a Pitocin, which helps your contractions go along, or start rather, it's normally 40 cc's, but my dose was a lot lower, which was 10. And that wasn't all at one time. That was over the course of my entire labor, which was like 7 or 8 hours. So she started me on that. She broke my water. And when she broke my water, it was a lot of water. I'm talking about a lot. Which I didn't know what to expect, because I didn't have that with Christian. Like my water didn't break with Christian. I just went into labor. So she broke the water, and I didn't know how soon after my contractions would start, but they started rather quickly. In fact, they started really quickly. So they started quickly, and what happened after that? Yeah, so at that point, I was debating whether I was going to get a C-section, an epidural or not. And I was, once them contractions started hitting, I was like, yeah, we're getting an epidural. So the anesthesiologist came in, and he was amazing. What's the matter? So he came in. Here. He came in, and shortly after that, I started feeling a little better. The contractions were coming, but they weren't as intense. I did make a playlist, but let me tell you, once them contractions hit, I was not thinking about music or anything else. I didn't want to watch TV. I didn't want to do nothing but get through those contractions. So yeah, I didn't listen to my playlist at all, which is crazy because I was really excited about it. And it was ratchet. It was, I thought it was going to be turned up in the delivery room, but anyway, so what happened after that? So yeah, so contraction started, coming, everything was moving along around 10 a.m. And that was pretty much it. Like, I progressed really quickly. And there were some times where the medication started to wear off, and I wanted more medication. So there was medication pumping through my IV every so often. And then what happened? So like around 6:30 p.m., my doctor came in. She checked me. She said I was about 7 to 8 centimeters, somewhere in there. And so she was going to go home and take a shower and come back. And I was like, okay. She's like, you should be ready to push by the time I come back. I said, okay. So she goes home, and I'm thinking, she had been at the hospital all day, early in the morning. Maybe she's going home to change into more scrubs. But she came into the delivery room all dolled up. Mind you, she had on a new set of scrubs, but like hair was whipped, makeup, face was beat. I was like, where are you going? As soon as she came into the room. And she said, oh, I have a charity event. I said, okay. So anyway, she checked me again, and I was ready to push. And so by this time, I felt a lot of pressure. So my legs were heavy because of the epidural, but I could still somewhat feel from the waist down. Mine is like my legs were heavy or whatever. So anyway, I felt enough to push. And so I didn't know how long it was going to take to push, because I had seen videos and women talking about, it took 45 minutes, or it took an hour, or it took 2 hours. And I'm like, man. But lo and behold, 4 pushes, literally 4, and he was out. Less than 10 minutes, really, or probably less than 5. But yeah, so I was very, very happy. I started crying immediately. I didn't know if I would, or I didn't know what I was gonna do, but I definitely started crying, and it was amazing. It was a different experience than my first birth. We immediately did skin to skin, and I was shaking. So let me tell you guys about that. So throughout my pregnancy, I was reading about stages of labor, what happens from beginning to end, so on and so forth. Because like I said, I had a C-section, so a lot of things that I experienced this time I wasn't aware of, or I didn't experience last time with Christian. So I had read about the transitioning period, which is the second stage of labor right before you get ready to push. And it's where you go from 7 centimeters to 10. And that I had read that some women, you okay? Some women, they vomit, they shake uncontrollably. And so I just assumed, because I was getting the epidural, or that I had got the epidural, that I wouldn't feel that. But lo and behold, around that time when I was like 7, 8 centimeters, I started shaking. And when I say shaking, I was shaking like it's 10 degrees below zero outside and I'm stuck in the snow and shaking. I'm trying to do this video. How are you gonna play me? And so that's where this little boy was chilling before I got on this camera. Anyway, so I was shaking uncontrollably, and I was like, oh my gosh, like how am I gonna push this and that? And so when I started pushing, I wasn't shaking anymore. I'm like, okay. And then as soon as he was out and they laid him on my chest, I was shaking to the point where like I thought I was gonna drop him. So I had my husband Theo on my left side, and I was like, just stand right here because I'm just shaking and I can't stop. And so I asked the nurse, I said I can't stop shaking. And she was like, yeah, she's like, it's fine, it's normal. She was like, you just delivered, your hormones are all over the place and so on and so forth. I'm like, okay. And I said, well, how long does this usually last? And she said, it could be a couple hours. I'm like, oh my gosh. So they laid him on my chest, like I said, and we were doing skin to skin, and they do that the hospital where I delivered at, they do that for an hour before they do anything else, and everything is done right there in the room. And so after that hour, they came back in and they, cleaned him up and everything like that. And when they took him and put him in his little bed next to mine to wash him up and to weigh him and all that kind of stuff, I just started praying, and I was like, Lord, please let this shaking stop, because it was not a good feeling at all. And so by the time they got done with him, which was only like maybe 10 or 15 minutes, they handed him back to me, and I had stopped shaking. So I was like, thank you, Jesus, because it was just a mess. And so, yeah, so that was pretty much that. And only people that were in the delivery room was my husband, because that's the only person that I wanted in the room. We didn't have any hospital visitors. Like I said, we don't have a lot of family out here in Texas, but my sister-in-law did come by, and my father-in-law, but that was long before I had started having contractions and all that kind of stuff. So anyway, everything was great. We were in the hospital for 2 days. Like I said, I delivered May 5th on Friday, and
where's Papa?
He went to the store. You want to say hi to Cameron?
Where's Papa?
Say hi.
Oh no, where's Papa?
He went to the store. He'll be back.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh. Do you want to say hi? Or are you just going to whine? No? Okay. Bye-bye. And so, anyway, so I delivered on a Friday, May 5th, and Sunday, May 7th, in the morning, we went home, which was great because I was ready to go home. And everything was good. Everything was smooth. Things were a little different because we already have a child, whereas last time we didn't have any children. So the first night at the hospital, Friday night, Theo spent the night with me and the baby, and my sister-in-law was kind enough to spend the night at our house so that Christian could be at home and sleep in his own bed. And so Saturday night, which was May 6th, I just told Theo, I want you to stay, but I know, we have Christian and everything like that. So he spent the night at the house, and our house is literally across the street from the hospital. So it's like a 5-minute drive, so they weren't far. But yeah, we were fine. The second night, I was up more than I was the first night because the baby had got circumcised Saturday morning. So he was a little he was a little agitated. Other than the local anesthesia during the procedure, they couldn't give him anything for pain, obviously, because he's a newborn. And so I was just cluster feeding, which is basically breastfeeding on demand, back to back, stuff like that. And I was exhausted. And so the nurse came in and she was like, "Oh, do you want me to take him?" And I was like, "Thank you." So she took him for 2 hours, and I dozed off. And when she came back, she said that he slept the whole time. I guess she just kept him near her, near the nurse's station. And so that was the best 2 hours ever. But yeah, so things are good. I am still adjusting to being a parent of 2 children, but I love it. I absolutely love it. And he's perfect. He weighed 6 pounds, 6 ounces, 19 inches. And I think the only thing I wish is that we would have recorded more, but I like to be in the moment and live in the moment, and so I have the memories etched in my brain, and I have pictures and stuff like that. So I don't really have any clips to share with you guys, but I will have some photos at the end of this video. So thank you guys for watching. I've missed you all. It's been a few weeks since I filmed, and so I'm just trying to get the hang of things, but I definitely wanted to do this birthing video, just let you guys know how things went. Like I said, he's 2 weeks already, so I didn't want to come to you guys and he's like 3 months. And it's like, oh, let's talk about my birthing story. So while things are still new and still fresh, I wanted to come to you guys and let you know how things are going. But things are well. Things are really good. And so, yeah, he's awake. I'm going to show him to you guys. Hopefully, he's trying to cut up. You want to say hi to the camera? He mad. How you going to do me like that? Look. He's hungry. I got to go breastfeed you guys. Say hi. Let me tilt the camera down so you guys can see him. Say hi. Say hi. Anywho, thank you guys for tuning in, and I will definitely be back with a lot more videos. I want to do a nursery tour of his nursery, believe it or not. Still have things to put in there, but the necessities are in there. Things that I want that are missing are decorative things and things of that nature. But I'll show you guys how I organize his dresser and all that good stuff. Anywho, until next time, love you guys. Bye.